My name's Roger Coghill, and this is the second of my talks on 3 natural plants. The first, which I mentioned earlier, was aloe vera, but this talk is going to be about meadow grass. Now, let me start by saying we've all heard of hormones. Hormone, the word, comes from a Greek word meaning to excite something or stir it up. And that's what a hormone does. It makes things happen quickly. For example, there are hormones which get you ready to run or to fight, adrenaline being one. But the hormone I want to talk about today also has been found in plants. And this was a fairly recent discovery. The hormone I want to talk about is called melatonin. And it wasn't until 1995, although melatonin had been discovered now more than 60 years ago, it wasn't until 1995 that some scientists in Texas discovered that there was also melatonin in plants. And they found there were in some vegetables too. Some vegetables, and mainly grass species, or the kinds of staple plants such as rice and maize, and the gramineous species, which had melatonin. No one really knew why at that time, but there were some grasses which had more melatonin than any others. For example, there was a grass called tall fescue, which is Festuca arundinacea in Latin. And this grass had far more melatonin in it than most of the other plants where there was any melatonin at all. And some vegetables didn't have any melatonin. For example, there was no melatonin found in potatoes. Others, on the other hand, were fairly rich, like walnuts and bananas. But anyway, this discovery led to a lot more research, and we knew that plants like St. John's wort contained the basis for which melatonin can be synthesized, that is tryptophan. Didn't actually have much melatonin in it, whereas the grass that I'm talking about had a lot. Now, as a hormone, melatonin is only made in the brain, or at least we think it's only made in the brain. Some scientists have found that it's made in the eye as well, but that's a very small amount. In fact, melatonin is the smallest hormone that we make, and we make it in the pineal gland of the brain, as I think I've already said. But this hormone is a mighty powerful one, despite its small secretional volume. It controls the sleep-wake cycle, which everybody knows about. It helps, for example, with jet lag, but the uses and benefits of melatonin are not really generally known by the public. For example, it does things like protect the fetus. It is what's called oncostatic, which means that it prevents or tends to prevent cancer. It protects your heart. It is a powerful antioxidant, and therefore if you regularly use melatonin, you will find your skin surface improves and your general complexion improves. This powerful ability to quench what are called free radicals, which the radicals which don't do the damage to your skin, suggests that melatonin is actually 5 times as powerful as vitamin C and twice as powerful as vitamin E. And what's more, it can come in and out of the blood-brain barrier, whereas none of the vitamins can do this. So it is a very omnipresent biomolecule in our bodies, even though it's very small. And it was, I think, a Czech Republic group of scientists who found that when our white blood cells, which protect us from infection, find a pathogen, they excrete melatonin from little sacs within them to kill the pathogen. So it's a wonderful biomolecule, with all these different uses. And it's found in this grass. Now that means that we can take this grass and dry it out without damaging its quality. If you heat something, you biodegrade its molecular structure usually, so it's not as good and powerful as it would have been had you not heated it in any way. And that is the case with melatonin in grass. You can grind it into a powder without heating it too much and use it in a capsule. So we've got a means now of taking on board melatonin in its plant form. That doesn't need a prescription, because the level of melatonin used in these plants is round about the same level as we make in our bodies. And it's far, far below the synthesized version that you would buy over the counter in America or on the internet. And so we've been able to put it on the market with a brand name, and people are benefiting from it all around the world now. We've got prizes for it even. So there's that is it. But the thing about melatonin in our bodies, the hormone that we make naturally, is that we find that as we get older, so our bodies make less and less of it. And so by the time we're 70, our bodies are only making about 10% of the level that we would have made when we were 40 years old. And because of that, regular supplementation with melatonin brings with it a benefit, and a kind of youthful preservation benefit, which we wouldn't have had we not taken it, because we're just not making it anymore. And other things that stop making it, whenever you switch the light on at night, you stop making your melatonin. And melatonin is only made at night. So there's a good host of reasons why we should use and regularly supplement ourselves with melatonin as we get older. Well, that's the second plant that I wanted to talk about, and I look forward to talking about the third plant, Cannabis sativa. But meanwhile, thank you very much for listening, and speak to you soon.